We're just waiting for it to finish buffering. Hope we're good.
What are you mowing on?
Welcome to the second annual Caden's Car Show. We're out here on the roof of the parking structure at University of Michigan CS Mott Children's Hospital with more than 60 incredible automobiles, a great lineup of activities, and most importantly, patients from CS Mott Children's Hospital, the people who this event is all about. Please submit any questions you have for our hosts, the car owners, or our guest experts by tweeting them using the hashtag Caden's Car Show. We're going to kick things off here this morning with Gene Jennings, President and Editor-in-Chief of Gene Knows Cars. What are we out here today for, Gene?
We are here to look at cars. I personally am standing here with one of the craziest cars you will see on the road today. It looks like a future car, doesn't it? It isn't. It's a today car. This is a BMW i8, and it's a really high-performance hybrid car, which means it has a combination. It has a little 3-cylinder engine, and then it has 2 electric motors, and together they make 357 horsepower. This car, look at it. I want to show you something really cool about it that I think you'll like. So it doesn't have gull-wing doors, it has swan doors. And there's one on the other side too, and together when they go up, it looks like a swan, doesn't it? And inside, there's the coolest material. You won't see a car like this. It has all this modern, it has carbon fiber, and it's absolutely gorgeous. I think you should take a quick look here while I'm telling you a little bit more about it. Look in there. It's so cool. This car will go 155 miles an hour. Do you know how fast that is? And it's $137,000. This car, it'll go from 0 to 60 faster than a BMW M3. And you know what? In electric mode, it can go on the freeway just electrically, and it's super quiet. Have you ever been in an electric golf cart? Super quiet, but super, super fast. Now, you'll run out of your electric battery, so there's that little gasoline engine. If you put this car in sport mode and you're driving crazy fast, it will completely charge the battery. Awesome. I think this is a car you should think about buying when you're go buy.
Thank you, Gene. Thank you very much. We're going to move on to our next car over here. Joining us now are David Dunley, Senior Editor of Automobile Magazine, and Jennifer Blackwell, who's been a key player on our planning committee for Caden's Car Show from the start. As well as we're going to have joining us Alex Stoklosa from Car and Driver Magazine in a few moments.
She just got here.
Oh, just perfect timing. Alex Stoklosa from Car and Driver Magazine. Thank you all for joining us today. Gene just told us a little bit about the BMW. We were hoping you guys might tell us a little bit about the Tesla.
The Tesla is super cool. And Alex, I know you've spent a lot of time in it. I've been fortunate enough to spend a lot of time in it with my kids. So I want to show you guys something that is super special. It's one of the coolest things about this car. Are you ready? Check out the trunk. Just look and see. What do you guys see in the trunk that you probably have never seen in any other car? Isn't that awesome? It's super fun to ride back there. And I was actually just telling a friend that this car, you can get strapped in the back, and then you can go on insane mode, which is really interesting. And Alex can tell us why that is so cool that this car has an insane mode, why that's so special.
So insane mode unlocks the full power potential of the car. There's an electric motor in the back, an electric motor in the front, and then it shuffles as much power to them as possible so that you snap off the line and get 60 miles an hour. And they claim 3.1 seconds. We've gotten very close to that. So very quick, and you sort of lose your stomach for a second. Very roller coaster like sensation. And it's great because you can do it all the time. No one can hear you, so you can do this on public roads and not scare people. It's a lot of fun.
And what kind of engine makes all that power?
An electric one? 2 electric ones.
So there's no, whereas in most cars there's an engine up front, this car has none. And it's completely silent.
Check this out, you guys. You could just climb in there and play.
We used this car for photography before. We'll have the photographer sit in front and shoot.
I'll do
the
that
cars.
too.
Yeah.
I'll be the designated sit in every part of every car. Although most people won't want me to do this.
How comfortable is that?
It's very comfortable. I think I could fit, you know. I mean, I wouldn't want you to close it on me.
We don't recommend doing this while the car is running, even though it is electric. So what do you guys think? Somebody want to get the Tesla? Tell mom and dad, say get the electric car with the seats in the back, because it's pretty sweet. I know it's one of my dream cars.
And another cool thing about this is the guy who made this car, Elon Musk, his other company, it makes rockets. So if you're wondering right now if you want to own a car company or build rockets, the answer is you can do both.
There you go. You can be a rocket car building engineer. That's probably why it's so fast too. Wicked fast, really.
All right. Well, I think we're going to
We
move
moving
down
on?
now to the Corvette.
Ooh, the Corvette. It's awesome. It's bright yellow.
The Corvette does have an engine. It's a really big one.
It's a really big, fun car. Check this out, you guys. Beautiful, bright yellow. And a lot of times people think that car enthusiasts maybe are just guys, but girls love cars too. And this is Kristen Lingenfelter, and she brought this car for you guys to see today.
So this is a Corvette Z06, brand new. Stock car makes about 650 horsepower. How much horsepower does this car make?
This is just our stage one. We have 3 stages, and this one's making about 720 horsepower.
So if 600 something horsepower isn't enough, you can go to Lingenfelter and get even more horsepower, because that is just the right thing to do. Now, this is one of your cars. How many cars are in your collection these days, Sally?
The numbers fluctuate around somewhere between 200 250.
That's quite a few
And
cars.
exotics, Corvettes, and muscle cars.
That's very cool. And the brakes on this car, you need for a car with a really big engine, you need really big brakes. You see how big these are? And they're actually made of carbon ceramic. Most brakes are made out of steel, so these are much bigger and they can absorb a lot more heat. Can we open the engine?
Oh, sure.
Open the hood?
Sure. I threw out the driving gloves.
Ah.
When we bought the car, they came with driving gloves. So it was meant to take to the track. And you'll notice how light this hood is.
Wow.
It's
Can
meant,
you do
it's
it with-
aerodynamic.
Can you do it with one finger? Let's see. Pretty much one finger.
So whereas the Tesla had nothing in the front, this has, I could not climb in here.
So this car from 0 to 60 in 2.9 seconds. So this car they made to compete with the high-end exotic cars.
Very cool. And it's yellow, so that's how you know it's really fast.
And you'll notice all the aerodynamics, the carbon fiber on the back, the wing. So, you know, if you're racing at higher speeds, 140, 150 miles an hour, this is what will keep you down to the ground. And actually, the car actually came with other pieces that you can attach to the wing. This is another piece, because I just drive it around town. I don't put some of these pieces on, but if I was at the track and, you know, running speeds at 140, 150, I'd want to attach this to, you know, keep it more stable and down to the ground.
Because like
So-
airplanes have wings to help them fly, this car goes so fast, it goes as fast as airplanes basically, so it needs wings to keep it stuck to the ground. This is basically like an upside down airplane wing. It works the same way, it just holds the car to the ground.
And this car has several modes that you can run in. You know, if you're just running in the city, normal day driving, you can keep it in an economy mode. It also has a track mode, a sport mode, a weather mode. So when they designed this car, they designed it for every situation possible. And I love running it in sport mode.
It also sounds pretty cool, right? Can we start it up?
Sure. You want to do?
Sure.
Okay.
I obviously always want to start the car.
And I'm pretty sure I left it in sport mode.
Let's see.
You can move the seat back. I know I had it up a little close.
Wow. Don't make me jump. Did you guys hear that? That was so loud. It was
And another
awesome.
thing, the tail lights, how they changed
Oh.
over the years.
Oh, what do you mean?
The tail lights, a few years ago, they used to be round. So this is, one of the new looks in the last couple of years that they've introduced.
That's true. It's much more angular, but it's still recognizable as a Corvette because it's got those two lights back there and 4 exhaust pipes. That's what was making all that noise. Very cool. The brakes in back too.
So this is Velocity Yellow. When you order the car, you can order whatever color brakes you want. My favorite color is yellow, so yellow just is great.
Makes
Makes
it
you
faster,
happy.
and I see the Lingenfelter on the valve covers matches.
Right.
So this is stage 1,
Right.
and then stage what's how much horsepower is like a stage 3 maybe? Like a lot.
Whatever you want. We have customers all over the world, and our Dubai customers. It's just we cater to our customer. Whatever you're looking for, we can build.
Wow.
We have some of the top engineers, and they'll cater to whatever you're looking for.
Now, Kristen, did you tell me that on your website there's pictures of more of your cars?
You can go to lingenfelter.com and tons of pictures. We have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Whatever you're looking for, we're out there. We've got tons of pictures.
Pictures for more of your dream cars. Start taking notes. What do you want? Your Christmas wish list, right?
That's right. So
Go
we've,
check them out.
we've got 2 choices so far. Let's see what we've got next.
Let's see what else
on the
there
dream
is.
car wish list.
We're heading over to the McLaren, which is a really beautiful car. But David, I am so excited because I see something over here that I think everybody can appreciate. There's a little blue car over here, and it's an Anglia, and some of you guys might recognize it as the car that Harry Potter flew in. That's what that is over there. Isn't that neat?
That is very cool, and it looks kid sized.
It is. It's totally a kid-sized car. You guys wave. These are the owners of this Ford Anglia over here. They brought it with them. So I just wanted to point that out because I think it's so cool.
And
But
then around
now,
here, this way.
We're coming over here to this
So you've
car.
seen some pretty nice colors so far. Yellow, blue, and this is lime green. Here with this lime green British car is a British man take home.
Hi there.
You gonna take my hand?
Of course I'm going to shake
Well,
my hand.
Jake,
Let's
this
take
looks
my
like
hand.
a toy. This doesn't even look like a real car.
Right, it looks so different than everything else. The doors go up, the engine is in the back, it's painted bright green. It's so much fun. And
Wait a minute. Did you just say the engine's in the back?
yeah, there's no engine up here in the front. It's way
No
in the
way.
back.
Can you show us?
Of course. Don't believe you. In the if I remember how to open it. I don't know if I can open it.
He was just kidding.
I was just kidding. But you can see through this glass panel, this is where the engine is hidden all the way in the
Oh,
back.
check that out.
And it's got 2 turbochargers. The car will go 204 miles an hour. It's a real wild toy.
204 miles an hour.
It's not really a car for going to the grocery store.
No,
It's a
so
little
the
bit-
speed limit, maximum speed limit on the highway, you guys, is 70 miles an hour. So do the math. How much more than the speed limit can this go? That's a lot.
A lot. I don't do math, but that seems like a lot.
Gotta
Now
be
you
a little
guys
bit
might
careful with it.
Yeah.
might notice on the Corvette you saw there was like carbon fiber on the back, and this has the same thing. It's a really light and really stiff material. You see how it's actually woven? If you look really closely, you can see it's not like a plastic. It's not like melted or anything like that. It's actually woven like a cloth blanket, but it's really stiff and really light. And now also here you see a lot like the Corvette Z06, another wing, an upside down wing that basically keeps it down to the ground at high speeds. And at really high speeds, this one raises up to really keep the car planted to the ground. Now, Jake, what's this one sound like? Do you think it sounds as good as the Corvette?
Well, I guess there's only one way to find out.
I think there's only one way to find out.
I'm going to jump again. I better be prepared.
I think it sounds pretty fun.
I think the Corvette was louder. I'm
The
just
Corvette
saying.
was definitely louder.
I think the Corvette was louder.
It's a little bit difficult to climb in and out
You
since
see how
it's
the
so low
doors
to the
go up
ground.
and down, much like in the BMW i8. So we've got all kinds of doors, all kinds of engines, all kinds of colors.
So if somebody wanted to save their pennies for one of these, how much would they have to save?
They're gonna have to save a lot of pennies. This one is $341,000.
Okay, you know that Christmas wish list we're talking about
Put this at the top
at
of
the
the wish
very
list.
top of your wish list.
It's at the top of my wish list.
No kidding.
So we've seen green, we've seen yellow, we've seen blue. Now we're gonna get something a little bit different. I don't know if you can tell what color this is. I think it's a lot of different colors. But you might recognize this car.
Check it
What
out.
color is this? It looks like we've got a little bit of blue, got a little bit of red. You might recognize this from the movies, from Pixar. It's Tow Mater.
The celebrity. Celebrity Tow Mater. And he's talking to you guys.
He lost his hood somewhere along the road. So look at that. That's it. It's got a big V8 in there too. All the way from Radiator Springs. And the tops.
And he talks.
Let's see if we can look inside here quick. I don't know how it sees.
And this actually is Steve,
There
who
he
actually
is.
built the car with his son, right?
So tell us a little bit about it. How did Tow Mater come to life?
Well, it's a 1956 GMC, and I was looking for a tow truck for my son because he really liked the Cars movie, and I was going to build one, and I ended up finding this one that was already a tow truck built in the early 60s, and it was used as a tow truck all the way until 2003. So
So it's
everything
a
still
real tow
works.
truck.
Yep, everything still works.
I
Actually
assume
used it to tow things.
you don't drive around with the eyes on the windshield.
Correct.
Take the eyes off.
This is my son. He helped me build it. His name's Jackson. So he helped me do some paint.
You guys have built a couple of different cars together, right? Or
Yep.
do
Awesome. Well, it's good to have a tow truck like Tow Mater around when you've got so many other old cars, because you just never know. When even with new cars, you just don't know when you might need Tow Mater around.
That's very
So
true.
he's a superhero and a superstar.
So speaking of old cars, we've got another one of the oldest cars here.
Oh my gosh, you guys, this car is so old. It was built before your grandparents were born, maybe even your great grandparents. This car is so old and it is so cool.
Tell us what it is.
This is a 1915 Model T Ford.
Wait a
So
minute,
it-
you said 1915, Jonathan?
Yes.
This is Jonathan Klinger. He's a friend of mine, and he said 1915, you guys. We've been doing a lot of math today. That's 100 years.
That's right. This car is 100 years old this year. It was born in May of 1915.
Where was it
Yeah.
born?
And while it was manufactured down here in Dearborn, but this
Cool.
car was sold new in Traverse City, and it's been there its whole life. And just to talk, you're going to see a lot of different cars today, but this one, it's 100 years old, so it has 20 horsepower. Its top speed is about 45 miles an hour. And if you think about, there weren't many paved roads 100 years ago, and so 45 miles an hour was really, really fast. And to many people 100 years ago, this was their first time ever owning an automobile. And so everything is open. There's no roll-up windows. There is a top that will fold up if you want to try and keep out of the sun or out of the rain. But again, there's no roll-up windows. And you guys you'll love the horn on this. Right here, it's a mechanical horn. Yeah.
So when this car was built back in 1915, were people still calling these horseless carriages?
It was, I don't think they were referred to as a horseless carriage then, since we later now refer to
Now
the
we call
cars
it, okay.
as horseless carriages. But
But I see some things on this car that look reminiscent of things that would have been on a carriage.
that's right. Notably the wooden spoke wheels. So look at these wheels here. These are wooden spoked. You know, almost any car today has wheels that either are metal or aluminum.
Now, what's
And
this? What's this thing up front here? How do you? What would you use that for?
Do you think we should see if it'll start?
I think we should. So in a normal new car, you turn a key or you press a button to start it.
And this is what the key looks like on this. And we'll see if it'll start.
That's not a guarantee. This car is 100 years old.
All right.
Fingers crossed, everybody. Let's see if it'll start.
There's a little bit of a process here.
That takes a lot of energy. And now I've heard you're supposed to hold your thumb a certain way when you're turning that.
Now it may jump to start.
We're gonna stand back. Oh yeah, put it down so you don't lose it. Wow! It's 100 years old and it just started.
That's right.
There you go. Now you're ready to go to town.
So is this car all original, or has it had some parts replaced along the way?
This car is mostly original. It was repainted in the 1970s.
Oh,
So
wow.
it was repainted about 40 years ago.
Now, most Ford Model Ts are black, is that right?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
that's a good question.
Other than some of the earliest Model Ts, they were all painted black. And that was because Henry Ford was so concerned with producing as many vehicles as he possibly could in one day. And if you had one color, it made it simpler. And black, they found, dried the quickest. So that's the reason why you see almost any Model T is going to be black.
I hear a Viper starting up over there.
That's right.
Yeah, let's start walking. Let's go. Let's walk. We've seen a
Thank
really
you.
old. Let's see really new. Thanks, Jonathan.
That car is so cool. I'm just saying. There's a lot of cool cars here, but a car that's 100 years old and still runs, you have to appreciate that. That's
I
on
don't
my
know,
Christmas wish list.
I really appreciate it, but to me, like 20 horsepower is not cool.
Do you guys know what horsepower means? We haven't explained that, but we've been talking about it a lot. So one horse has 1 horsepower, and this goes back to carriages, just before that car was built. So when we're saying things like 200 horsepower, that means it would take 200 horses.
And do you guys recognize that person? Do people still watch Looney Tunes?
I don't know. That's the Roadrunner. Beep, beep. All right, David, you're going to have to talk about this. I don't know much about this car,
Well, here
other than it's really cool.
We've got an expert here. We've got Gian Cadiz from Fiat Chrysler. Tell us a little bit about this car. It looks kind of fast. Is it faster than a Model T?
This is fast as hell. This is very fast. And it's
It's fast as heck. It's a heck
That's right.
faster.
It's the Hellcat. So for us, 199 miles an hour, 0 to 60 in the mid 3-second range, but the best. Everyone loves. 707 horsepower.
707 horses. Imagine 707 horses. That would fill up this entire parking lot.
So this is an incredible car, the most powerful muscle car ever produced. You know, we're happy to bring it here today. You know, we're going to rev the heck out of this car. We're going to
yes.
generate excitement for the kids today. We want them in and out of this car and really to enjoy it. You know, it's for them, not for anyone else today. All for them. So here we have our 3-coat red line red paint. Got our red suede interior.
A lot of red.
A lot of red.
A lot of red. You just want
Lot of
everybody, because
excitement.
red means it's fast.
It's very fast.
And I want to show you guys something up front. So this engine is so big and so powerful. It has a lot of holes to cool it. And it also has, up here, you see it has these 2 headlights. This one is actually a hole, and it feeds air to the engine because gasoline engines run on gas and air, and they mix together, and then there's a spark, and it explodes, and that's what makes an engine powerful.
Wait, did you just say there's an explosion?
There is a lot of
Oh, man,
explosions
that's
going on here.
Cool.
Yes, we're about to hear an explosion.
We're going to hear an explosion, you guys. I'm excited. I'm going to get out of the way, actually. the engine was rocking when that was going on? That was so cool.
That was a lot of power.
That was a ton of power.
It's a good thing it has big brakes to stop it. Especially this guy, I mean, he's in a lot of trouble.
I have a lot of trouble.
Hard to get.
Getting a drive car like this sometimes can put you in a lot of trouble.
Are these the recommended professional shoes for driving a Challenger sports car?
Probably not.
Do they have to be blue?
Oh, I thought they're great.
I think they're great, David.
I-
I think they're great.
I should have worn red to match the car.
So, not only are these cars engineered, you've probably noticed every car looks different. So, why is that?
Oh, look at this.
Hold on 1 second.
Oh, nice ride. You just never know what you're going to see around here.
That's right. So we want to find out a little bit about why all these cars look different from each other and who does that. We have over here.
Right now with some of our patients. We've got an artist and a junior artist here.
Oh yeah.
Drawing pictures
He's better than
together.
me,
Wait, can we get a look at some of their pictures? What are you drawing there?
I like that.
There's a lot of good work going on in here.
Yeah, wow. So this is how cars start out, as basically a sketch.
With a sketch, yeah.
They draw cars just like you might be doing, and then what happens after they go from sketch? How does it go from sketch to become?
Then we go here to the clay model. It's where it becomes 3D real object.
And what are you doing here? You're just seeing if you like it and making adjustments.
Exactly. You start sculpting the car out of clay, and you start making, the shapes and the changes that you want, and try to really see it. Yeah, basically in real life, in actual form.
And then what happens? Then you deal with engineers who tell you if it's possible.
Exactly. Once you get to that point, then you start getting engineering help and engineering inputs for the reality of things.
So like, we're sorry, we can't actually build that.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
It's usually like, then you start making the changes, like this needs to be bigger, this needs to be smaller. Certain things have to be adjusted to kind of real life, and you go through that process kind of back and forth a few times until it finally becomes something that's ready to be built.
So how long does it usually take for a car to come from here, your head onto a sketchbook, onto into real life, like the cars we see here?
Like an actual driving car?
Actual driving car.
Probably about 3 years.
3 years.
Yeah.
Did you guys hear that? That's a long time.
And that also includes, obviously, between the design process and then the prototyping, and then you get into, you start doing road testing and evaluations and all that before you can actually sell it to the customers.
So I want to be clear, you guys are car designers.
Yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit? That seems like one of the coolest jobs you can possibly do. Explain a little bit how you became a car designer. If you're a kid sitting, what did you have to do to go from a kid sitting drawing cars to be?
So for me personally, I think it's probably the case with most of the other guys as well. Just kind of started off, I love drawing. I loved cars, but like any any kid, I just like to draw. And slowly I started getting more and more into liking cars. My older brother was into cars, so I started drawing cars instead of, cartoon characters and animals and whatnot. And it just kind of went from there. By the time I was in high school, it was kind of like, okay, I think this is what I want to do. So I went around and I started looking, and a family friend actually told me about, a design school out in California. That's where originally I'm from.
Right.
And lucky enough, it was 10 miles away from home. So
you went to design school.
I went to design school.
How to draw better.
Exactly.
Very
cool. Use your imagination, you guys. Use your imagination. You never know where you can go. And this is Ryan Nagodi, and he. Hi, Ryan.
Well, how's it going? I'm chief for our interior studio at FCA, and we're really happy and proud to be here, especially Friday night's event that we did. We did actually a lot of paintings. A lot of these guys did some digital paintings, and we actually auctioned them off for the event, which was really nice. But we're proud to be here today, trying to show all the kids a little bit of everything we do. There's a lot of cool stuff that a lot of people don't get a chance to see. So I think it's nice to have the kids get a chance to doodle a little bit on paper and come out and have some fun.
Now, I saw the paintings on Friday night. I was at that event, and there were some really bright colors. There were some that were like all red with shading. My favorite one was the super beautiful.
Oh yes,
like teal and red.
Yep.
So color, you guys like color. Right?
Color's huge. I mean, sky's the limit when we're designing things, and like we were mentioning, a lot of us are artists at heart, so we love kind of, even though it's got to be real, we love kind of making artwork and making it fun and stuff like that. So using a lot of color, and nothing's bad. We try everything.
So just let your imagination explode. That's what I'm hearing here. Just get out your paper and your markers and do it. You just don't know what you can come up with.
Exactly. It's free to draw on the paper, so that's easy. So just keep drawing.
So you guys all started just as kids drawing cars.
Oh yes. Personally, my dad was a toy designer, which is actually pretty fun.
Toy designer.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool, you know. So I get to basically do toys for older boys and girls, but he did toys for younger kids, which is pretty cool. So I always had a design thing within the family, and that's what kind of got me into drawing, and I was doing it from day one. I never had like a real job per se. I always did stuff that was art related or design related, and
it was like
I mean,
for you.
my parents have piles and piles of artwork that I did, and it's fun to look back on. So
oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So do what you love, you guys, because you don't know where it could take you.
You gotta love what you do.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to, because I see a very cool car here.
Yes.
Most cars, when they start as like drawing, sometimes you have to tone them down a little bit to actually make them go on a road, right?
We do a lot of stuff that's called concept cars. Concept cars are the things that we take to auto shows. They're usually an expression of what the designer was feeling at first, and sometimes, yes, they're a little overdone, but it's also to get the emotional standpoint, get people excited about it, see if people really like that type of thing. The Viper is a prime example, I think, of a car that came out as a concept car, but in the end, the production version looks almost very similar, because they said, you know what, it looks so darn cool, let's make it real. And at FCA, we have fun with that a lot with doing concept cars. We do a lot of events around the year. The one Jeep behind us is also an event.
This looks wild.
Wow.
Yep. This was done
my gosh,
for our
look at the wheels on it.
This was done for our Moab event that we do every year. Craig can probably get into a little bit more specs on it just to kind of have some fun, but Craig's also at FCA.
Tell us a little about this crazy car.
This is 2014 Jeep Wrangler that we turned into a old Cherokee Jeep. There's that one panel on this car that wasn't touched. It's all fiberglass, a lot of wood, a lot of detail. Look at some of the crazy stuff inside.
How big are these tires?
37-inch tires.
37 inches. That's probably taller than some of you guys. It's almost taller than I am.
It goes right up here to my waist. Wow.
And what are these tires for? Why do you have such big tires on a car?
Tires can go in the mud, they can go in the sand, they can rock climb with it.
So you can drive this car anywhere, not just on a road. You can take it anywhere and it'll do just fine.
This really goes a lot of places.
I see a badge on it that says it's surf rated, so it's that cool. Is that what that means?
You got a little hula girl on the top of the dash up there.
So stick your surfboards in it and head to the beach.
Yeah.
Very
Awesome.
cool.
Yeah, the wood. Yep.
All right, you guys ready to see some more cars? Thank you guys so much.
No problem. Have fun.
Thanks. You know what, David? I love the new cars, but I really, really love the old cars, and this car blends that together. It's so cool.
We're actually going to introduce one of our most important guests today. Todd is one of our patients here who's come out to see the cars. Are you having fun?
Yeah.
Todd, we talked earlier. We were at the Tesla. So that was just the start of your tour. Have you seen anything else that you like?
I like the Camaros.
Camaros, those are sweet.
Camaros are very cool.
Yeah.
Which one do you think makes the best noise?
There you go. Noisy.
Camaro? That's really pretty cool.
So you probably have a couple years yet before you get your driver's license, right? So which one of these do you want to take? If you could pick any car to drive away when you turn 16, which one do you want?
Down there, there's a Dodge Ram.
You want a Ram?
Oh, Ram. You're a Ram man.
Yeah, see?
Very nice.
What about that backpack?
Look at that.
There we got some swag.
Perfect.
Very cool. Well, you'll have to make sure you see the monster truck, which we're going to see later in the show too. So
Yeah.
thank you,
Monster truck
Todd.
Is it Raminator or who is it's a Dodge, it's a Ram monster truck.
Yeah.
Have you seen it before?
I think I've seen it in the main entrance.
Yes, that's the one. You have to check that out. Have fun.
Thank you.
All right. So where are we headed now, David?
Well, we're walking along
There's
here.
so much stuff to
There's
see.
so many cars, we can't show every single one, but here's an Alfa Romeo 4C. This is an Italian car. So the designers here, they kept saying FCA. That's Fiat Chrysler. That's Fiat, which is an Italian company, and Chrysler, which is an American company, and part of it is Alfa Romeo. That's also Italian. And this car, like a lot of the cars we showed you, has the engine in the back.
Engine in the back.
And here's another older car. This is a Volkswagen Beetle. This is a car that was designed in the 1930s, but it was built way into the 1970s. This is another kid-sized car. Looks like it has eyes, doesn't it?
This is one of my absolute favorite cars. When I was a kid, I always wanted one of these.
And here's another new car. We're just moving along the eras here. This is Mazda Miata. It's brand new. I really like this color, and I really
I
like
do
this
too.
car.
This one's definitely on my wish list. Miatas are so much fun to drive. They might not be as fast. How much horsepower do you get out of a Miata, David? Do you know?
Usually around it's around 116 horsepower.
Yeah,
So
so compared to some of the supercars we've seen, it's not even close, but it's just fun to drive and hug the road.
and you can probably reach the pedals because you see it's actually a pretty small car. You can scoop the seat way up. See? You can reach that, no doubt about it. So this
That's
car,
a kid-sized car right there.
brand new, but it was also based on a lot of older British cars. All very small. And you see one other thing I wanted to show you. I'll scoop the seat back.
He doesn't have to do that very often, though.
Not very often. So most cars have an automatic transmission, which means as a car is going along, when it makes that noise, brr, brr, that's a transmission putting it into the next gear. But this car has one that you do it yourself. You have to shift yourself. So you press this pedal down here. There's a third pedal. You go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So one day you're going to have to learn not just to drive, but how to shift the standard. That's very important.
Manual transmission is really cool. And right now I'm going to talk to the girls, okay? Girls, a manual transmission is super duper fun to drive. Don't ever let anybody tell you not to or that you can't, because it's way cool. And that's actually how I met my husband. So, another story, but everybody thinks you're cool if you drive a manual, especially if you're a girl. And you know what? It's not on the tour, but that's my car over there. And it's a manual, and it's really fun to drive too. But we're going to go down here and visit another friend of mine. Yeah.
So what kind of car is this, by the way?
Jaguar E-Type.
Very nice red. Very pretty.
Beautiful.
Hi there.
Hi, everybody. This is my friend Jack, and this is Jack's car behind us, and he's going to share a little bit about this beautiful car. It's another Jaguar. Over there you have the E-Type. What do you have here, Jack?
I've got a 1954 Jaguar XK120 fixed head coupe special equipment model. It's a mouthful, but it's a pretty accurate description of the car.
I like the paint. Dude, this is, I'm going to guess, not the original paint.
You're correct. It was originally a sort of a dove gray color, but subsequent owners painted it black and not very well. So when I restored it, I had a real pro do the paint on it.
Look how shiny it is. You can I'm not going to touch it because, you don't touch a guy's expensive car. That's a rule. But look how shiny it is. It looks like the wind will go right past it. And so can you show us the engine in this thing? This has a very long engine. It's different than a lot of the engines we've seen. There's so much variety here.
The engine Sir William Lyons, who ran Jaguar, insisted on the engine being every bit as beautiful as a car, and I think he succeeded. It's a little dirty, but
We'll forgive you.
thank you. Thank you.
This is pretty cool.
So how many cylinders are these?
There are 6 cylinders. It has dual overhead cams. I don't want to get too technical because the kids won't be interested in that. But suffice it to say, it was one of the fastest production cars of its day. Right now, 180 horsepower, which this had out of the factory, doesn't sound like a lot, but back then it was tremendous. One of the fastest production cars going. And to prove their durability, they took the car on a racetrack in France. And for a week, they ran it at 100 miles an hour, only stopping to change oil and drivers and put gas in it. And they covered almost 17,000 miles without a breakdown.
Wow, that's incredible.
And where
if anybody, sorry, but I just want to say, Jack said he wasn't going to get too technical, but if any of you guys do have technical questions about this car or any of the other ones, you can send it and we'll get it answered for you. Just wanted to remind you about that.
One thing I would want to show you is kind of interesting. When I was restoring the car, I was taking seats apart so that I could get them recovered. I found up inside the seat the original registration for the original owner 3 years after she bought it. And it says that the original owner was Betty DeLuca of Denver, Colorado. She paid $3,029 for this car.
That doesn't sound like a lot of money, but
$3,029?
She bought it in May 11th of 1954. This is kind of fragile. It's got the consistency of a potato chip right now. But you can read it carefully with a magnifying glass. The license fee to register it for that year was $5.30.
Can you buy a car for $3,000 anymore?
Yeah, but it won't be a new one.
And it won't look like this.
And it sure won't look like this.
That is for sure.
Wow, I wonder what that would translate to in today's money.
Well, you could buy a new Cadillac for about that money. So it was an expensive car then.
That is really cool.
What was really neat about this car, if I jump in, is you could buy this car off the showroom floor, and you could buy a Ford. You could buy a Ford for about $800. This car costs $3,000, but the Ford would never do 132 miles an hour like this one car would off the showroom floor. This car was bought as a race car.
So we've been talking to the kids. We've been telling you guys a little bit about horsepower, especially in the supercars. Did you already mention what kind of horsepower this car has?
It had 180 out of the factory. It was a special equipment model.
180.
But
Wow.
when we rebuilt the engine, we put in 9-to-1 compression ratio pistons, and it's probably got about 190 now.
So another thing I noticed, you saw wood wheels, you've seen metal wheels. This is another step. Look at these wheels. They probably look a little similar to your bicycle. And so, Jack, these, if I'm not mistaken, you have to tighten these once in a while, right?
That's what they say, but so far I haven't had to.
Well, maybe you should then.
Maybe it's time.
Now, are you able to start this up? Does it?
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah, want to hear what this sounds like?
All right. Let me get rid of my book.
But I know after a point right now, before I can afford one, and it's
I'll start it from under the hood.
All right. So normally you can start this with a key. Yeah.
It does have a key.
We just saw crank starts are, so I wanted to make sure the difference is clear to the kids.
Yeah, you can start it with a key, and then when you need to, you can turn the ignition on.
And this car is also a manual transmission, right?
4 speeds, yes.
So he's going to start this car from under the hood. That's a special trick. Now, I know this is a lot of pressure for a British car to start on demand on a video.
Full confidence in this car. That ticking noise you hear is the electric fuel pump priming the carburetors.
Wow. See how smooth that sounds? Jaguars are very refined, very quiet. Wow, it smells good too. I can smell the gas. That is very cool.
It's got a single exhaust system on it, because I was showing it at concourses, but the SEs typically had twin exhaust, but this one was built after they went back to a single exhaust because of ground clearance.
So explain that for a second, what you do with this car. You drive it around and you enjoy it, but you also go to shows where you basically compete, right?
Yes, we do. They're called concourses.
So basically you have what, judges who are looking at the car?
Yep.
What do they look for?
Well, they look for cosmetics, they look for condition speed, they look for functionality. Does everything work? Do the lights work? I'm just going to turn it off.
Go for it.
Yeah, and we're actually to move along. So we're going to tell Mr. Valentine, tell Jack, thank you so much for sharing your car.
Thank you, and thank you for the
That
car
is
for
a
starting.
beautiful car. So fun. Now we're going to come talk to Dr. Oye for a minute.
We're going to walk and talk as we make our way down to the Rolls Royce. So we just wondered if you could tell us a little bit about what we're here today in terms of the important message about the need for organ donors.
Well, I guess, first of all, we're here for Caden.
Yeah.
And for all the other kids who've had heart transplants, and I think you probably heard the story already, but Caden had a heart transplant. Actually did his heart transplant when he was only 6 weeks old.
6 weeks old, so it's just a tiny baby.
Just a baby. And transplanted hearts don't last forever. People think it's sort of a cure and you got a new heart and everything's going to be fine, but they usually last for only about 10 years. And he came back and needed a new heart. And unfortunately, we couldn't get a heart in time and he passed away. So this is all in his memory, and also for all the kids in the future who need heart transplants. There are about 350 kids heart transplants a year.
350 years, so that's almost one a day.
Yep.
If you were to look at it that way.
Yep. So a big number, but a small number too.
Okay.
But probably the truth of it is there are hundreds of other kids that are waiting for hearts, who are going to get them or not. Unfortunately, like Caden, not get one in time. And the sad truth of it is that about 20 to 30% of the kids waiting for hearts don't get them in time. And the other sort of sad thing about that is if everybody donated, there would be more than enough hearts for all the kids that need hearts.
The
all
hearts to
the
go
adults.
around,
Yeah,
right?
There's more than enough to go around, and people were just aware of the need for heart transplant and the real difference it can make, obviously, in someone's life, and not only the child's life, but their family's life. And we talk about it being the gift of life, and it really is just that. It is the gift of life.
So we've seen a lot of the cars we've seen that technology is always improving. I'm guessing is that the case for your field as well?
Yes. So part of the reason that we're here is to raise money for research. Caden, actually, while he was waiting, his heart failed and he had to go on an artificial heart, if you will. And he was on that for a period of time, and all that comes from research. One of my partners is working on stem cell research and has developed a new kind of stem cell based on some of the tissues that we get at routine heart operations that we normally just throw away. And so he's developed a new kind of stem cell, and we would hope eventually that we could potentially, really ultimately grow all new hearts from, being photobombed. Oh, that feels good on a hot day like this.
Clouds are everywhere. You just don't know where they're going to show up.
Oh, hey.
Oh my gosh.
So, but those kind of research is supported by people that are here raising money. A lot of that more innovative research, sort of higher risk research, doing things like the idea of can we grow a new heart or develop the next generation of artificial hearts, all comes from donated money. It's not really very well supported by
So those
like
things
federal
have to go
funds.
hand in hand. Donate the organs now,
Right.
donate the money so we can do research to improve the donated organs and research for artificial.
So
we
maybe
need both, right?
someday we'll never even have to do heart.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
Yeah, that'd
that would
great.
be fantastic.
Have your own heart. Someone else's.
Well, my kids have big imaginations, and my oldest daughter has said she's going to create a pill so that everybody stays healthy forever. So you never know where your imagination
Never
can
know.
take you.
The cars have improved a lot over the last century we've seen, and so has medicine.
Yep. We all see that.
Sure, I'm gonna get my face painted, you guys. Check this out. What do you think? Does it look good? Is this the right color for me? Thank you.
Let me get some blue.
Okay, it's gonna change the color up, and then I think we're gonna go look at a Rolls Royce.
Oh, like a blue nose.
Oh no, do I have a blue nose? Oh, I'm so embarrassed. Does anybody have a squirt bottle? You can spray it off.
No, just
Thanks, you guys.
Hey, is that thing on?
I don't know.
Oh?
We're gonna check out this Rolls Royce.
I don't see
over
nobody
here.
in there.
Dr. Oya, did you have anything else you wanted to say to the kids?
No, just
the clown said it all.
Everybody, yeah.
Yeah, the clown.
Really, you never follow a dog, kid, or apparently a clown.
Apparently a clown.
Yeah, but no, I wanted to just say thanks to everybody for being here because obviously it's for the kids, and it's a great event. So thanks.
No, thank you.
Out of the house,
Thank
great
you.
work. All right, thanks very much for being here too.
Well, we'll see you later.
Okay, very
Thank
good.
you.
Enjoy the car.
Yeah.
So now we're gonna see.
This is a cool
new car. It's a Rolls-Royce drop head coupe, and it's built in England. This one's actually fresh off the boat from England.
Fresh off the boat. And before they get into all the technical stuff, I'm going to show you guys my favorite thing about the Rolls Royce, which is not that. Surprisingly, not the umbrella.
Over here.
It's the carpet. The carpet of the Rolls Royce is the softest thing you've ever felt in your life. I was lucky enough to drive one last year, and I drove it barefoot because it was so soft. Oh yeah, sure. Check this out, you guys. I'm not gonna touch it. Hands free. Watch.
So this car costs about $500,000. That's as much as most houses. So
It's like 3 times as much as my house. Watch this.
So a car that costs $500,000 does a lot of cool things.
I guess I don't have a driver's. I drive a right-hand drive car, so I'm confused right now.
So this car has a V12 engine, and it has a lot of cool details. It has the carpet, which Jen talked about. It also has these center caps. When the car is moving, the center cap stays straight up, so that way everybody who's on the highway knows that you're driving a really expensive Rolls Royce. That's very important to know. And the doors, they open completely differently than most doors. You see, they open this way, and it's very.
Oh
easy
no,
to climb
David,
out.
it's raining. What am I gonna do? I have an umbrella.
That's when you pay $500,000 for a car. Ask your parents. $2,000 umbrella.
It's
what
really
they
worth
say.
it just for the umbrella.
It's very much worth it. I think we do.
And by the way, it's not actually raining. I'm just teasing.
But it could rain. It rains a lot in England.
Oh, can we shut the door?
Yeah, go ahead. You got the button.
And I just want to point out how big this car is. It's a 2-door car, but it's enormous.
How are you, sir?
Yeah, there's not always a lot of room in convertibles. Wow. Look at that.
At the press of a button.
Now, can you do this while you're going down the road, or do you have to be stopped?
I don't recommend it. Usually they have a rating of how fast you can go.
Okay, so you can maybe a couple miles an hour, but not real fast. You got to stop.
Very weird. Hi, kids!
Okay, I think we're about to take a little trip here. I'm going to trade stuff here with my friend. Okay, so what car? I'm about to climb in here to the Mercedes Maybach, right?
Mercedes Maybach. This is also another expensive car that's worth the money. And some of the special things I want to show you about this car. It has a V12 engine, like the Rolls Royce we saw. But what really makes this car worth the money, if the Rolls Royce, what made it worth the money was the carpet and the umbrella. With this car,
Okay, and we're actually going to climb in here. Right now we've got Brigham and Lance Bowles in the car, and we're going to jump in here too. What's special about the back seat?
well, first of all, it's very roomy. See how roomy it is? Second of all, you have tables like you're in an airplane or a special bed. And you have a remote control that controls a little television right in the back seat there. And And if that's not enough, you also have little cups that these come with the car so that you can have orange juice, or if you're a little older, champagne while somebody else is driving.
Okay. Well, we are actually